Denis on the left playing a pretty straightforward build of Mardu mid-range. Very similar to the build we just had on camera last round.
The deck has been kind of out in force here this weekend.
Yep.
We got some lands to start. Nomad Outpost, excuse me, on one side of things. And then we have ourselves a Bloodfell Caves on the other here for Samuel. And it looks like it is another Bloodfell Caves. So a slow start for both players here, but the action in this format really does start on turn number 3, it seems.
It's part of the reason that decks like Boss Sly are able to find a home in the metagame, even though the power level of the cards is so low. Just getting out in front of decks, especially when you're under play, is a really powerful thing to be doing.
Bloodstained Mire going to get sacrificed here. Shaknovich's going to search up a land. There's a swamp. We'll see what the turn 3 is going to bring to the table, as oftentimes that's when the fun gets started here in this format. Perhaps a Goblin Rabblemaster? Yes. A Goblin token incoming here as well. And now it is time to attack for 1. So McGinnis is going to go down to 21. So he's gained a little bit of life from his land so far. See if our Minotaurs player can get going.
Well, the real question is there any tribal synergy here that Samuel can put together that's better than just casting a bunch of good stuff?
Take a little look-ski-poo here. This is going to happen a lot, I think, for Denis. That is our Ragemonger. And there's a Gnarled Scarhide.
So basically all the really cheap ones without colorless mana and the mana cost, they become freebies.
It's weird because you don't ever see, normally the cost reduction is by colorless mana,
yeah,
and not actual colored mana. You don't see that very often, but with Ragemonger, it's actual colored mana. So the 2/3 comes down, now Gnarled Scarhide comes down with it. Magma Jet's going to take care of that thing. Time for a little scry action here.
But if there's no follow-up removal spell here on the Ragemonger, Samuel may have an explosive turn next turn.
Yep. That's where things can get a little scary. One on top, one on bottom.
Uh-oh.
Looks like it might be a Chain to the Rocks. Yes, sir. Get that thing out of the way. Rabblemaster's looking to get a little wild out here. There's another Goblin token. And here is your attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage. McGinnis will draw. And there is a Bile Blight going after the Goblin tokens.
So that play seemed really preemptive here unless he has some way to follow up and kill this Goblin, which I do not believe he does.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Just going to pass the turn back after Bile Blight. I would rather kill the Rabblemaster in that instance instead of the tokens. Temple of Triumph going to come down here for Shaknovich. Yeah, it looks like he's going to leave that card on top. Looking to see some explosiveness out of the Minotaur deck. I guess we'll see some explosiveness from the Mardu mid-range deck, because now here comes all these goblins. This is another attack for 6. I know Goblin Rabblemaster hasn't really been the talk of the town recently. You know, Jeskai, you think a lot of Mantis Rider, and obviously we think of course, Siege Rhino, but Rabblemaster's no joke, man.
It is not. And that's part of the reason it's hard to justify playing these tribal decks is the raw rate on a lot of the individual threats in the format is so excellent that it's not really worth going out of your way to get some tribal payouts.
See, Lightning Strike will take care of Goblin Rabblemaster. Here's a Death Bellow Raider. I know this one well. 2 mana, 2/3 that always has to attack. It also gets to regenerate, thankfully. But that thing is furious. Bloodstained Mire the draw.
And Dennis's hand is just loaded. Crackling Doom, Wingmate Rock.
Some powerful cards, to be sure.
Yep.
Gonna search up a mountain here. Let's see what spell he opts to cast this turn. Crackling Doom would be a... put him down at 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not all the way lethal.
You can also just attack with everything and cast a Wingmate Rock post-combat, which seems fine, too.
It seems like a pretty bad spot no matter what for McGinnis.
Samuel can trade with the Rabblemaster or read a token, but you still have a lot left over.
So there's your trigger. Here's your attack with just 3 Goblin tokens. One of them, of course, will bite the dust, as Death Bell Raider will block. Looks like we have a Wingmate Rock coming. Gonna take to the skies. Will Shaknovich at a very high life total. Yeah, it feels like a pretty tough game for McGinnis to win now.
Minotaurs typically do not fly, so I imagine he does not have a great answer in his deck to Wingmate Rock.
It's good use of the word typically. Appreciate that. We're not sure if Minotaurs fly, but we know they don't this game. Denis Shaknovich going to win game number 1 here over Samuel McGinnis. Marty midrange up a game here over Red-Black Minotaurs. We're going to get a more explosive performance in the next game.
Do you remember the last set that had a really big Minotaur tribal theme?
Plane Shift.
And then before that?
No.
It's Homelands.
Yes, it is.
Homelands had a lot of Minotaur Matters cards. Didgeridoo, probably the most iconic one. There was a couple others as well. Go back through the Homeland spoiler.
Didgeridoo?
Yeah, just puts a Minotaur into play, I believe.
Nice.
It's like you get to show and tell in a Minotaur.
Nice. That's really good.
But back then it was all Anima Shamans and Heirloom Minotaurs, so it wasn't really that big of a discount.
It's more of an honest game then.
Too honest.
Yeah, Magic was more honest back then. Take a look at the sideboard here. A lot of one-ofs here. One Utter End, an Obelisk of Erd, a Whip of Erebos. Also have a Guild, a Feroce, a Felled Hide Petrifier, 4 copies of Flayed Conflagration, 3 copies of Fanatic of Mogus, and an Anger of the Gods. What do we like here?
Faded Conflagration, good removal spell here, kills everything. I like it a lot here. Besides that, I'm surprised that the Obelisk is just not in the main deck.
I am a little surprised by that as well.
Especially since you have things like, Death Bell Raiders where you don't want to be attacking with them every single turn. Convoke Synergize is very nice with those kind of creatures. So I would bring it in because I think it's just sweet. And then besides that, I guess the Guild is also just a pretty good removal spell.
What do we see on your side?
2 copies of Utter End, a Chandra Pyromancer, a Wingmate Rock, and Elspeth Sun's Champion. 3 copies of Anger of the Gods, 2 in Hostilities, 2 Glare of Heresy, 3 Read the Bones, Anger of the Gods, and Hostilities, the Elspeth, and the Wingmate Rock. 2 copies of Utter End all seem excellent here. I don't know if we can make room for all of this. Even though it was good that game, I would consider cutting Goblin Rabble Master because Samuel is going to have a lot of removal spells, most likely. And I would just want to play a removal into huge threats kind of game plan, which I don't think Samuel's that well equipped to handle.
Well, as we do shuffle for game number 2 here, we will talk about our 2015 Invitational schedule. It would look pretty familiar to you guys at home.
Yep, we are replacing Charlotte with Richmond as the Season 1 Invitational, and then our same 3 venues in order, Columbus, New Jersey, and then Seattle to round out the year. Dates already announced.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Should be fun. We'll stop in Richmond instead of Charlotte, as you did mention. The rest stays the same. We'll be at the Origin Game Fair for Columbus. We'll, of course, go to New Jersey for a fire alarm and some rain in Seattle.
We'll be perfect.
Cannot wait. Next year, 2015 Open Series is not going anywhere. Look, StarCityGames.com/invitational schedule for more information. All right, Minotaurs, here's what I need. I need a good start. Let's get a Gnarled Scarhide out the door. Let's get this party rocking and rolling. That's what I need.
A little bit better timing with the removal spells, too. I think the Rabble Master might have been a little bit easier for Samuel to contain that game if he timed some things differently. Because his deck doesn't really care that much about a bunch of 1/1 tokens, so...
He could beat those deck full of 2/3s?
Exactly. If he just focuses his energy on keeping the Rabble Master off the table, I think Samuel's got a good shot.
Is there a reason that Minotaurs are 2/3s?
Well, there's the historical precedent set by Heirloom Minotaur, which is iconic.
Okay.
I think that's the big reason.
They're all 2/3s.
We have I have a saying in game design, the first time it's a mistake, then it's precedent. The first time you do something, it's just for random reasons, and then that random reason gets quoted as justification to do a million different things for the next 20 years. Like Heirloom Minotaur sets the stage for Minotaurs being 2/3s.
Oh, look at that guy.
Look at that miser.
Setting the stage for future Minotaurs. Here's a Gnarled Scarhide. Good start.
One of my favorite pieces of Magic art from my favorite Magic artist.
It's drawn by who?
Anson Maddox.
Wow, look at you.
Elvish Archers from early on in the day, also one of my favorite art pieces.
Scarhide in for 2 here. Shaknovich going to go down to 18.
Yeah! There we go. Got a little something going.
Lightning Strike. What is this?
It's the Rage Fire Shaman.
It is the Shaman. Going to pump up the jam? No, we're not.
Boo.
Lightning Strike take care of that. But 2 more damage coming across.
Rage Blood, excuse me.
Shaknovich going to go down to 16 now. Yeah, that guy pumps up the jam on other Minotaurs and gives them trample.
One of the payouts for playing this kind of deck. Probably the payout. This is in the Rage Bonker.
Yep. Nomad Outpost to play. See a Hero's Downfall to draw. Another attack for 2. Is there a removal spell here? It looks like a Lightning Strike going after the Scarhide. McGinnis with any creature to follow up with. It's got a lot of removal. He's just going to pass the turn back. See a couple copies of Lightning Strike and a Hero's Downfall in the grip.
I think a Kragma Warcaller as well.
That's definitely a payout.
That's one of them too.
Yeah.
Synergizes very nicely with the Rage Monger.
Let's say Mario going to get sacrificed. 10 is going to go down to 15 now. It'll be a mountain that he does search up. Let's see what the 4th turn holds here.
Man, imagine if he's stacking a fetch land here, we're looking at either Sorin or Butcher of the Horde this turn.
Some completely busted 4-mana spell is your prediction. Looks like it's only going to be 3 mana. Goblin Rabble Master, that's dead. I don't think so. Not after last game.
That's the threat that I think Samuel can definitely handle here.
There's a Rage
Oh,
Monger.
yeah. Next turn might be good.
He's got the Warcaller in the grip for next turn. There's a mountain. Let's see what this is. Maybe a removal spell? Yeah, Lightning Strike's going to take care of that. And a Rabble Master to follow up. There's an attack for 1.
I think Dennis has correctly identified that his game plan here is just prevent Samuel from getting any sort of Lord into play.
Yeah, don't let those things hang around. Lightning Strike going to take care of the Rabble Master. Pass the turn back. You saw Whip of Erebos was the draw for Samuel last turn. Battlefield 4 is the draw here for Denis. His hand right now has a Crackling Doom and a Butcher of the Horde in it. So there's the Forge. There's the attack for 1. Again, it's going to go down to 18. Yeah, I think it's time to bring the Butcher to the party. There that is. Funny, you think of the Butcher Horde as always having haste, but it's still just a good threat on its own.
Yes. 5/4 flyer for 4 mana. Hard to go too wrong.
There's the Rageblood Shaman. Shaknovich will draw a card. It's a copy of Nomad Outpost.
Now, as bad as things going here, if Samuel can draw a Swamp next turn, he does have a Hero's Downfall. He can take care of the Butcher. Dennis is down to just a land in his hand.
Yep.
And then you're facing a 1/1 versus your hand of cards. That's a game that Samuel might be able to win.
Big attack here for 6, though. Can't forget about the 2 from Crackling Doom as well. So already McGinnis is down to 10. He's got to draw that Swamp probably this turn. Some sort of Black Source to kill that Butcher of the Horde with the Hero's Downfall. Let's see what the draw is. It's a copy of, ooh, a little slow in the Bloodfell Caves.
Yeah, I think that needed to be untapped here.
Yeah,
I don't
so.
think Samuel has a follow-up.
We'll see if Shaknovich is able to draw anything this turn. Tough to tell. Looks like we're getting life totals correct here. Both players having a brief discussion with our table spotter as well. So when we do have this taken care of for you guys, of course we'll let you know.
Yep.
But it is important to have life totals correct in all games. So looks like we are good to go. It looks like a mountain was the draw. Here's an attack yet again. 6 points of damage are going to come through. Take a draw here. Down to 4, you see Whip of Erebos. Hero's Downfall is going to go after the Butcher, I imagine. Yep, that's going to take care of that.
Dennis still with just lands in hand. I mean, if he misses some draws here, it's another land.
Temple, take a look at the top card. Chain of the Rocks is going to go to the bottom. Push it down to 3.
Pretty greedy there from Dennis, looking for a threat card to finish off the game, but Chain of the Rocks seems like it's just solid all the time against Samuel's deck.
There is the Rageblood Shaman. Pass the turn back.
Here's the test. If Dennis draws a land here, we got a game.
Looks like there's Nomad Outpost. That's going to come into play tapped. Quickly untapping and drawing. The Caves is going to bring him up to 4. That's out of Lightning Strike range.
Getting a little momentum going.
Yep. It feels like it's time for a Whip of Erebos.
Oh, yeah.
Are we attacking? We are not. We're playing D.
I think he's got to get an attack there.
Butcher the Horde comes off the top of the deck. Oh, man. Had he attacked, he'd be up to 6.
Yep, and then the Butcher's not lethal.
Yep.
I think he had another downfall in his hands.
Yeah, he did.
We got a game going at that point.
But a Butcher the Horde is going to get the job done, and Denis Shaknovich is going to win this match over Samuel McGinnis 2-0. Minotaurs picks up its first loss.
The upside there of attacking is so high because you're holding back on defense there. The only way that Denis is going to be initiating attack there, he's killing you most likely. And you get to pick up 2 life versus the 1 you take on the way back.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty much a spot where